I'm Sergeant Jacob Gallagher with the Anaheim Police Department Professional Standards Section. I'm going to provide you with a brief overview of an officer-involved shooting that occurred on Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. This incident began on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022 at approximately 9:44 p.m. when the Anaheim Police Department Communications Center received a 911 call from a female who indicated her friend had shot a gun into the air and threatened to shoot her. Here is a portion of the call made to our communications center.
911 emergency.
I have an emergency. Someone is shooting right here at my house, Anaheim.
Okay, and can you see them, or do you just hear shots?
Yes, I can see him. I know him. Please come.
Who is he?
I don't have time for this. I'm going to get.
You have to have time. We need to know this information.
I'm going to get shot, ma'am.
Okay, so you're refusing to give any information?
No, I'm not refusing. I'll give it.
Okay, who is he?
He is my friend.
Okay, what's his name?
Osman Brown.
Okay, where does he live? Does he live with you?
Yes, he does.
Okay, and is he inside or outside?
He's outside right now.
Okay, and who is he shooting at?
He's shooting in the air, but he's got a big gun, and he's threatening me.
Okay, what did he say to you?
That he's going to shoot me.
Okay, how many shots did you hear?
Can you save me?
How many shots did you hear, ma'am?
Several. He's coming back in the house.
Okay, are you able to put him on the phone so I can talk to him?
No, he's too crazy.
Okay, is there anybody else in the house with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do you live by yourself?
He's here. He lives here.
Okay, what kind of car does he drive?
I have to hang up. Hello?
Yes.
Can you send somebody?
Yes, I'll send somebody to speak with you, okay?
Hurry.
Okay.
Based on the information the caller provided, the dispatcher entered a priority call for service, and officers self-dispatched to the location. Officers arrived and located the calling party, who explained Mr. Brown was in possession of 2 guns. Here is a portion of the police radio traffic associated with this incident.
We had contact with, and she's claiming that there are in fact 2 guns involved, and both wheels are she's concerned, one of which is a .38. I last saw him out in front of the res, west side of the street. I think that's where he is. She says he does live there, and there's nobody else inside. And I've since lost visual, and he may have gone inside.
The suspect in this incident was later identified as Osman Brown. Officers arrived at the location and spoke with the calling party, who relayed Mr. Brown pointed a .38 caliber firearm at her and threatened to shoot her. She further explained Mr. Brown had 2 guns and that he had fired 1 round from one of the weapons while he was outside the residence. The reporting party told officers she feared for her life, and she was adamant the firearms Mr. Brown possessed were real. She further believed Mr. Brown would shoot at officers in the event they approached him. Based on the information the victim provided, officers determined there was probable cause to arrest Mr. Brown for assault with a deadly weapon, negligent discharge of a firearm, criminal threats, and felony domestic violence. Mr. Brown was believed to be inside a residence in the 600 block of South Rush Street, so officers established a containment area around the residence with the hopes of locating Mr. Brown and safely taking him into custody. Numerous attempts were made to contact Mr. Brown, including calling his cell phone, calling a landline inside the residence, and utilizing a public address system to call him out of the house. This was done in the hopes Mr. Brown would cooperate and safely exit the residence. Mr. Brown did not communicate with officers and refused to exit the home. Because Mr. Brown was armed, refused to exit the residence, and there was probable cause to arrest him for several violent felony crimes, this incident became a barricaded suspect event. Accordingly, this incident transitioned from a patrol-driven response to a response led by our tactical response group. As this transition was occurring at 12:34 a.m., officers heard a gunshot come from the rear yard of the residence. The gunshot can be heard in the following body-worn camera footage.
What was that?
For the next 2 hours and 40 minutes, tactical negotiators attempted to get Mr. Brown to exit the residence and peacefully surrender. He did not comply and did not respond to any communication attempts. Nearly 5.5 hours after this incident began, at 3:14 a.m., Mr. Brown exited the front door of the residence, began yelling incoherent statements, and acting in a belligerent manner. He then retreated back inside the residence and repeated this behavior several times. At 3:41 a.m., Mr. Brown exited the front door of the residence, simulated having a gun in his hand, and made a firing motion in the direction of officers. At 3:51 a.m., Mr. Brown once again exited the front door of the residence, this time carrying an assault rifle. He briefly pointed the gun in the direction of officers and once again walked back inside the house. Approximately 1 minute later, Mr. Brown once again exited the front door of the residence, this time holding a revolver in his right hand. Mr. Brown pointed the gun at officers and an officer-involved shooting occurred. A total of 4 officers discharged lethal weapons and 1 officer discharged a 40mm less lethal weapon. The following footage and images are from one of the involved officers' body-worn camera.
Mr. Brown, loves you. Step out, please. Put your hands up. No one needs to be hurt. Please make it easy for everybody. Step out. Hands up. I don't want to see you get hurt. Please leave the guns in the house and come out safely so this can end well. Listen to what they're saying. Just please come out. Please come out, babe. I love you. Thank you. Osman Brown loves you. Please step out. No one needs to get hurt. Please step out. Hands up.
Still moving at the door. Yeah, he's still at the door. He's been there. Just can't see him.
What is it?
What's he got in his hand?
He's got a gun.
No, it's a little.
Okay, so what was the fire? The L fire? He had it look like
Yeah.
an AR-15 in his freaking hand.
No, it was.
Go ahead, Kenny. What?
Looked like a little. I mean, it was a gun, but it was like a toy. Looked like a little toy drum gun. I don't
Looked
know.
like an AR pistol with the drum
Did
mag.
it? Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like a short barrel AR pistol with the drum
Right.
mag.
I saw the drum.
I don't want to see you get hurt. Please leave the guns in the house and come out safely so this can end well. Listen to what they're saying. Just please come out. Please come out, babe. I love you. Thank you.
This is gonna sound weird, but if we back this mark
Hold on.
unit up 2
Hey,
feet,
he's
Yeah.
back at the door again, guys.
does that spotlight now not hit and backlight it, or does the spotlight not hit the door perfectly?
I think you're still gonna hit the car. He's got a gun in his hand. Gun in his hand right now.
Revolver in his hand.
Revolver in his hand. Step outside! Step outside! Yeah, he pointed the gun right at us. All right, he's down at the front.
Down.
He's down at the front door, guys. Down at the front door.
Down at the front door.
He's got the gun still by his side. He's not moving.
Alright, we good? Hold on, we got plenty. Let's get back to cover.
Why don't we step rid of the car so we can get a good eye on him?
The turret's got him.
Okay.
The guys in the turret's got him plenty.
Okay.
Coming back. Coming back.
Yeah, the guys in the turret got eyes on him. Don't worry,
All
we're
right,
back. We're
let's
back.
step back.
We're
Let's step back.
Coming back.
All right.
He's going to do the subject's down in the
He's down the
doorway.
front.
We're just putting together a plan to see.
I'm just gonna keep a light on him. Turret guys, can they go light? Some turret guys go light.
That's good.
Yeah, we're yeah.
Hey, nobody
Yeah, we're
injured,
good.
right?
Yep, no.
Everybody's good?
He didn't get any shots off. He leveled it, pointed it right at us.
Okay.
No rounds
Yeah,
off though on his end.
After the officer-involved shooting occurred, officers formed a REACT team in an effort to safely take Mr. Brown into custody. As they approached Mr. Brown, they were concerned because he was still in possession of the revolver. Mr. Brown was asked to discard the firearm, however, he did not comply. To ensure there was no intentional noncompliance on Mr. Brown's part, a 40mm less lethal projectile was deployed to determine Mr. Brown's responsiveness. Mr. Brown was responsive, and he was commanded to discard the firearm in his possession. He did not comply. A short time later, a second 40mm less lethal projectile was deployed to determine his responsiveness. This time, he was unresponsive. Because Mr. Brown failed to discard the weapon, his close proximity to a residence that had not been searched, and to ensure the safety of police personnel, a police canine was used to separate Mr. Brown from the revolver. Once this had been completed, officers began rendering medical aid to Mr. Brown. A tactical paramedic team, who was standing by a short distance away, responded and triaged Mr. Brown. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. The following are evidentiary photographs of the guns Mr. Brown possessed in connection with this incident. This photograph depicts the gun Mr. Brown pointed at officers at the time of the officer-involved shooting. The revolver was loaded at the time of this incident. And these photographs depict the assault rifle Mr. Brown exited the residence with. The rifle was a .223 unserialized ghost gun with a dual-drum high-capacity magazine. This weapon was also loaded at the time of this incident.